It's no secret that Broadway is not doing very well right now. I mean, 2 musicals closed on December 8th, which as of recording is just 2 days ago, and as of right now, there are 14 more that are going to be closing within the next 2 months. That is a lot of people out of work. Now, granted, some of these shows were already scheduled to have limited runs, but 14 shows closing right after the holiday season is kind of insane. So I just wanted to take this video and explore what the f*** is going on. As of right now, what shows are closing, what shows are staying, what shows are new, and breaking them down by whether they are based on a movie or an IP, whether they're a jukebox musical, or whether they are a truly original piece of theater. While also touching on the 5 main reasons that I believe Broadway is collapsing. But first, what's up? My name is Connor McDowell, and I'm currently campaigning to be People Magazine's Sexiest Man Alive for the year 2025. If you like this video, or you think I should be nominated, just click subscribe. 1 subscribe is all it takes to get me on the cover of People Magazine's Sexiest Man Alive issue, and that's the issue that I think that I deserve to be on. You should also follow my letterboxd because I'm really cool and I'm not stinky, I swear to God. And if you still have it, you can follow me on Twitter. Before I hop in with my thoughts, I just want to give a shout out to Catherine Quinn, who is a fantastic YouTuber that covers a lot of the inner workings of Broadway as somebody who currently works there. She also talks about making Broadway and theater more accessible to people who can't afford to make it to Broadway, which I think in her position is a very important thing to be doing. Catherine also made a video about the topic that I'm talking about. My video is going to be more from the perspective of somebody who used to see a lot of Broadway shows and can't afford to anymore. So please go give her video a watch, subscribe to her channel, she's great. First thing I want to take a look at is this article from Broadway World that says 16 Broadway shows will close in the next 2 months, and then it lists 16 shows that are going to be closing very soon, 2 of which already have: Tammy Faye and Water for Elephants. And then December 15th, we have The Notebook, The Roommate, and Swept Away all closing. Editing Connor here. So Swept Away is no longer closing on the 15th. It just got extended by 2 weeks as of last night. So it's now going to be closing on December 29th, which is very, very good. I'm very happy that that happened. You know, it's not like a massive extension, but it's still a win because at least it gets to play through the Christmas season. Also, Trisha Paytas is going to be making her Broadway debut. I don't even know, can you really count it as Broadway debut? I mean, she rented out the theater and is just doing a thing at the theater. So, I mean, like, I guess, yeah, it's a Broadway debut, but Trisha Paytas is doing the thing, I guess, regardless of any controversy that she's found herself in. So, yeah, that's editing Connor. Now, back to the video. Then December 22nd, we have The Hills of California closing, which was a limited run, so it was expected to close anyway. Then on January 4th, right after the Christmas season, we have the new revival of Elf the Musical closing, which of course is also a limited run because nobody's going to want to go see Elf in the middle of April. Then on January 5th, we have Back to the Future the Musical closing and Suffs the Musical closing. Then on January 12th, Stereophonic is closing, but again, that plays a little bit different. It was supposed to close much earlier, but kept getting extended. And then on January 19th, Our Town and Eureka Day are both closing, which again, both limited runs. Then on February 2nd, Cult of Love and Left on 10th are closing. And February 16th, Romeo and Juliet and All In Comedy About Love are both closing. Specifically for Romeo and Juliet, Rachel Zegler has to go on the press tour for Snow White, so it's going to be closing. Now, like I said, a lot of these were limited runs, which means they were going to close anyway. But 14 different shows, including limited runs, all closing within the span of 2 months is not good at all. And I think one of the big reasons is the lack of new and innovative theater coming to Broadway. Of the 35 shows that, as of recording this video, are currently playing on Broadway, there are 6 new plays, 7 revivals of musicals or plays, 4 new musicals, 20 shows that are just concurrently on Broadway, meaning they were from a season before, 5 jukebox musicals, and 9 different shows that are based on a movie or a previous IP, which includes 2 of the new musicals that are currently playing on Broadway. Death Becomes Her is based on a movie, and A Wonderful World is a jukebox musical. That means currently there are only 2 Broadway musicals that are brand new. Those are Swept Away and Maybe Happy Ending. Now, Maybe Happy Ending, of course, was a musical in Korea and then transferred over here, but I'm still gonna count it. And Swept Away is written by a band, the Avett Brothers, but is not a jukebox musical. So already we are seeing that the Broadway community is starving for something new. Unfortunately, that something new was not Tammy Faye the Musical, because it closed very, very soon after it opened, which is very unfortunate for a new piece of musical theater. Was it any good? I don't know. I didn't see it. But if you look at the reviews, maybe that's why it closed. But what's scary about 14 shows closing in the next 2 months, other than all of these people losing their jobs, is that there are only going to be 21 Broadway shows left running. Meaning that half of the theaters are either going to be vacant or waiting for new shows to come in them. That's a crazy way to say that. That's not what I meant. I'm so sorry. Or these theaters are waiting for new shows. Now, of course, these theaters are not going to be vacant because there are 19 shows currently scheduled to arrive on Broadway from January to April. These shows include English, which is a new play, Redwood, which is a new musical, Operation Mincemeat, which is a new musical that is transferring from London, Buena Vista Social Club, which is a new musical, but also a jukebox musical, Othello, which is a revival of a Shakespearean play, Purpose, which is a new play. The Picture of Dorian Gray is technically both a revival and a new play because it's a new adaptation of The Picture of Dorian Gray, but that also transfers from London. Then we have Smash the Musical, which is technically a new musical, but is also a musical based on a previous IP. Same with Boop, which is a new musical, but is also based on a popular IP that has previously existed. And we have Good Night and Good Luck, which is a brand new play, but is also based on a film. And then we have The Last 5 Years, which is considered a revival, even though it's never played on Broadway before. It has an extensive following. People know what the fuck The Last 5 Years is, therefore it's considered a revival. Then we have John Proctor as the Villain, which is a new play. Stephen Sondheim's Old Friends, which is a review of Stephen Sondheim's musical. I'd be hard-pressed to put it in a new musical or a revival or anything. It kind of exists in its own ether. And yes, I'm very excited to see it. Floyd Collins, which is also a revival. Stranger Things The First Shadow, which is a new play but is also based on a previous IP. Just in Time, which is a new musical but is also a jukebox musical. Real Women Have Curves is a brand new musical, but it's also based on a film. Pirates, the Penzance musical, is a revival of the Gilbert and Sullivan operetta Pirates of Penzance, but it's not an operetta anymore, it's a musical and they're changing things, but it's still a revival of Pirates of Penzance. And then Glengarry Glen Ross with Date TBA, which again is a revival of a play. So if we're looking at the numbers, there are 6 new plays, 3 of which are brand new and 3 of which are based on previous IPs. Then we have 5 revivals coming between musicals and plays. There are 7 new musicals opening, but 3 of them are based on a movie or a previous IP, and 2 of them are jukebox musicals. Meaning, yet again, there are only going to be 2 new, completely original musicals coming to Broadway, which is just mind-bogglingly insane to me. And those 2 musicals are Redwood and Operation Mincemeat. Now, Operation Mincemeat got very, very good reviews when it was over in London. I know absolutely nothing about Redwood except for that it stars Idina Menzel, and there are a lot of big trees. That's all I know. I haven't looked further into it. By the time I post this video, Swept Away is closing in 4 days on December 15th, which means that there are only going to be 3 completely new original pieces of musical theater playing on Broadway at least until April, which is so fucking crazy to me. Yes, there are other new musicals, but they are based on movies or they're based on previous IPs or they're just jukebox musicals. But the only reason I have a problem with that is because new and original works are getting completely thrown away in favor of things that people already know, which yes, may make money in the short term, but does absolutely nothing for the continuation of the art form. It's looking like maybe Happy Ending is gonna have to carry every other Broadway musical on its back this season, and honestly, I'm worried that it might not even make it to the Tony Awards. I would love for it to. I really want to see it. But with everything that's happening, I'm just worried that it's not gonna be able to bring in enough audiences. Hopefully, that is very, very wrong, but then again, I don't fucking know what's gonna happen. Now that's like the big point for this video, but I have 4 others that I want to touch on. Starting with awful theater experiences. If you go on the Broadway subreddit or Broadway Facebook groups or anywhere they're talking about Broadway, chances are you're gonna find posts talking about loud crowds or obstructed views. And people have to pay a lot of money to sit through experiences like this. I made a whole video about The Rock saying that it's perfectly fine to sing in a movie theater while you're watching a movie, which I think is a completely ridiculous statement to say. You've paid your money, you deserve to sit there and watch what you paid for and not have to listen to the other selfish people that are sitting around you. But that doubly applies for live theater, especially because prices are insane right now. My roommate just went to go see Maybe Happy Ending on Broadway, and he said that the person that was sitting next to him walked in late and then started taking pictures of the show on their phone. What kind of entitled, self-centered world are we living in where people think that that is a perfectly okay thing to do? Which then brings me to my next point, is that the theater prices are too fucking expensive, and you are simply not getting enough for the amount of money that you're paying. I use this website called Broadway Rush that tracks what shows have different rush tickets and lottery tickets and standing room only tickets, and most of the things I see here are in the high $30 price point to even some that are in like the $50 price point. And the whole point of Rush and lottery is to be an extremely cheap way for some people to be able to go see shows when they can't afford to. That's why there's Student Rush, 30 under 30. And I don't know what the fuck is going on with the Outsiders with this $79 Ponyboy seat, but these prices are simply just way too expensive for the average person to be able to justify going to see a Broadway show when they know their seat is probably going to be garbage. And those are just supposed to be the cheap tickets. Don't even get me started on TKTS and why I never shop there, because they say the tickets are discounted, but they're still insanely fucking expensive. And it is quite literally just a fact that the majority of people do not have the money to see these shows right now. I mean, The Hills of California, a new play, is charging $52 for their digital lottery. The Broadway lottery started back in 1995 when the production of Rent wanted starving artists to be able to see their show, and their lottery was $10. And I really don't want to hear the inflation argument, because $10 in 1995 is only about $20 today. So realistically, these lottery and rush prices, adjusted to inflation, should not be more than $25, $30 max. But no, because the theaters know that they can charge this amount and that people are willing to pay this amount of money for lottery or rush tickets, then they're just going to charge them that. And the two final reasons that I have kind of go hand in hand. Why are ticket prices so insanely high right now? One, because of lack of government subsidies from the United States government to help fund the arts and let them thrive. And two, because the theater owners and landlords are charging way too much money. Now, I may have a lot of backlash on both of these opinions. You may call me like a dumb woke socialist, fucking whatever. But it is true that in a capitalist society, government subsidies are almost always necessary to help the theater community thrive. According to Statista, 16.2 million British pounds were given in subsidies to theaters to help fund their shows, to make sure that the arts are alive and thriving in their country. Now this helps bring down, one, the cost of shows, which then helps bring down the cost of tickets. Shocker, I know, right? It is much cheaper to go see a show in London than it is to see one in New York. They're still expensive, don't get me wrong, but paying $500 for 2 hours of entertainment just because Audra McDonald is standing up there singing is an insane amount of money for most people to even fathom being able to spend for one night. So yes, theater subsidies are extremely important, and unfortunately, I don't see a reality where the United States ever implements them, which, if you care about art and understand the importance of it, should be unbelievably frustrating to you. Now, my final point is something that Catherine Quinn talks about in her video that I think you should definitely watch because she knows a lot more about this than I do. But just observing everything that's happening, theater owners and landlords are charging way too much fucking money for shows to be able to play in their theaters, which, if you ask me, is inherently anti-art. Of course, in my opinion, capitalism is anti-art in general, but the owners of the theaters simply do not care what kind of show is being put into their theater as long as it can make them money in the short term, because no matter what, you're gonna have another show lined up to come in right after. They do not care about the quality of the show. They don't care about the actors or the musicians or the crews that are working on these shows. They only care about how much money they can put into their own pockets. If you ask me, if you are a theater owner and you care about the work that is being put on in your theater, then why are you charging so much fucking money for these shows to even have a chance to succeed. I'll say it. I don't care about landlords. I don't care about theater owners. They have more money than probably anybody working in theater right now. So I don't care. If the show flops or not, the theater owner's making money off of it. Again, if you want more insider information about this, please go check out Catherine Quinn's video. It's a good video and it's very informative. But I think I've done enough ranting today. All I'm gonna say is I am extremely worried about the future of Broadway, and I just know that this awful recession we're about to go in is going to hit the arts extra hard, which then turns into more shows closing and more people becoming unemployed. And you bet your ass, if that happens, I'm going to be blaming the people that deserve to be blamed. Not the actors, not the performers, not the writers, not the producers. Maybe in some part the producers, but the capital owners. The people that are charging insane, disgusting prices for new art to be able to flourish in the environment that it should be able to flourish in. Anyway, that's going to be it for me today. If you like this video, don't forget to click like and subscribe if you think I should be nominated to be People Magazine's Sexiest Man Alive for the year 2025. This week's Funny Boy of the Week goes to 777BB for sending me this meme. If you want to be Funny Boy of the Week, all you have to do is follow me on Instagram and DM me a meme, a TikTok, or anything that you think is funny. And if I think it's funny, then you have a chance to be Funny Boy of the Week. You can also follow me on all my other social media, including my Letterboxd and my Twitter. And if you want to become a bigger part of this community, you can join my Discord. The links for all of those are in the description down below. I'm Connor McDowell, and I'm gonna go cry my eyes out because I can't afford to see Audra McDonald and Gypsy right now. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.